Steve Davis, OBE, is an English former professional snooker player from Plumstead, London. Known for dominating the sport during the 1980s, when he won the World Championship 6 times and was ranked world number 1 for 7 consecutive seasons, he is remembered particularly for contesting the 1985 World Championship final with Dennis Taylor, the black ball conclusion of which attracted a record 18.5 million British viewers. Today, Davis combines his ongoing playing career with his role as a television analyst and commentator for the BBC's snooker coverage. In addition to his 6 world titles, Davis's career achievements include 3 Masters and a record 6 UK Championship titles. He has won a total of 28 ranking events, second only to Stephen Hendry, and has won over £5.5 million in prize money. Davis has compiled more than 350 competitive century breaks, including the first officially recognised maximum break in professional competition, in 1982. During the 1987-1988 season, he became the first player to complete snooker's Triple Crown by winning the UK Championship, Masters, and World Championship in the same season. His other accomplishments include winning the World Doubles Championship 4 times with Tony Meo and winning the World Team Classic World Cup 4 times with England. Davis won his last world title in 1989, and captured his last major title when he won the 1997 Masters at the age of 39, but he has continued to play snooker at a high level into his 50s. He reached the final of the 2005 UK Championship at the age of 48 and was still ranked inside the top 16 when he turned 50 during the 2007-2008 season. He reached the quarter-finals of the 2010 World Championship at the age of 52, making him the oldest quarter-finalist since Eddie Charlton in 1983. He won the World Seniors Championship in 2013. Outside snooker, Davis has competed in pool tournaments, notably playing on Team Europe at the Mosconi Cup between 1994 and 2004, helping the team win the event in 1995 and 2002. He is also noted for his participation in poker events, having reached the final stages of several televised tournaments. Since 1996 he has been a regular broadcaster with Phoenix FM and an expert in the progressive rock genres of Zale, Rio and the Canterbury scene. A keen amateur chess player, he has co-authored 2 chess books with Grandmaster David Norwood and is a former president of the British Chess Federation. He has also published several books on snooker, as well as 3 cookbooks. He has appeared on a number of popular British TV shows, including I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, in 2013. He was made an MBE in 1988 and an OBE in 2001. Early career, Davis was introduced to snooker by his father Bill, a keen player, who took him to play at his local working men's club at the age of 12, and gave him Joe Davis' instructional book How I Play Snooker. They studied the book and built Steve Davis's own technique on it in the 1970s. He started playing at the Lucania Snooker Club in Romford, where at the age of 18 the manager of the club brought his talent to the attention of Barry Hearn, chairman of the Lucania chain of snooker halls. Hearn became Davis' friend and manager. Paid £25 a match by Hearn, Davis toured the country, taking part in challenge matches against established professionals such as Ray Reardon, John Spencer and Alex Higgins. Around this time he was given the nickname Nugget, because, according to Hearn, you could put your case of money on him and you knew you were going to get paid. Davies won the English Under-19 Billiards Championship in 1976. One of his last wins as an amateur was against another future professional Tony Meo in the final of the Pontins Spring Open of 1978. A year later he successfully defended his title, this time defeating another of his future rivals, Jimmy White, 7-4 in the final. Davies turned professional on September 17, 1978 and made his professional television debut on Pot Black, where he played against Fred Davis. He made his World Championship debut in 1979, losing 11-13 to Dennis Taylor in the first round. Dominance of snooker, Davis came to public prominence after his performance at the 1980 World Championship, where he reached the quarter-finals, defeating defending champion Terry Griffiths en route, before losing to Alex Higgins. Davies won his first major title in the same year, the UK Championship during which he beat Griffiths 9-0 in the semi-finals and Higgins 16-6 in the final. This began an 18-month period of dominance. He won the Classic and then the International Masters and English professional titles in 1981, and became the bookmakers' favourite to win the 1981 World Championship, despite being seeded only 15. Davis reached the final by defeating Jimmy White in the first round, Higgins in the second round, Griffiths in the quarter-finals and defending champion Cliff Thorburn in the semi-final. Davis's 18-12 victory over Doug Mountjoy in the final confirmed bookmakers' early predictions, and in celebration his manager Barry Hearn charged across the arena to lift him up in the air. He would go on to reach 7 out of the next 8 World Finals. He followed up his world title win with a 9-0 final victory over Dennis Taylor in the International Open and then retained the UK Championship with a 9-0 whitewash over White in the semi-finals and a 16-3 win over Griffiths in the final. This began a period of 6 months in which Davis and Griffiths contested almost all the major tournament finals. During this run, in January 1982, Davis made snooker history when he compiled the first televised maximum break at the Classic at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, Oldham, against John Spencer. Davies won a calf for the achievement. This was also the first televised maximum break. Davies subsequently lost 8-9 in the final against Griffiths. In 1982 Davis won his first Masters title, defeating Griffiths 9-6 in the final. Davis's 18-month period of dominance ended at the 1982 World Championship, when he succumbed to the so-called Crucible curse, losing 1-10 against Tony Meo in the first round. Later that year, he couldn't win a third consecutive UK title as he lost in the quarter-finals against Griffiths. Following those 2 setbacks, he won the World Doubles Championship title with partner Tony Meo. In 1983 Davis regained the world title with a session to spare in the final, defeating an overwhelmed Thorburn 18-6. Thorburn had seen his previous 3 matches go to a deciding frame and a late finish. Davis lost 15-16 to Higgins in the 1983 UK Championship final, despite having led 7-0 at one point of the match. In 1984, he became the first player to retain his world title at the Crucible Theatre by beating Jimmy White 18-16 in the final. He also regained the UK title in 1984 defeating Higgins 16-8. Black ball final. At the 1985 World Championship, Davis dropped only 23 frames en route to the final, where his opponent was Dennis Taylor. He looked set for a third consecutive world title after an opening session of near-faultless snooker gave him a 7-0 lead, which he extended to 8-0 in the evening session, but Taylor recovered to trail only 7-9. From 11-11 the pair traded frames before Davis forged ahead to lead 17-15. Taylor won the next 2 frames to level the match at 17-17 and force a deciding frame. With the scores close, Taylor potted the final colours to leave the black as the winner-takes-all ball. After a series of safety shots and attempts at potting it, Davis overcut the black, leaving Taylor with a reasonably straightforward pot to secure the championship. The nail-biting finale drew 18.5 million viewers, a record post-midnight audience on British television and a record audience for BBC Two. The black ball finish was voted the 9th greatest sporting moment of all time in a 2002 Channel 4 poll. Davis and Taylor met again in the final of the 1985 Grand Prix, but this time Davis won in the deciding frame. At 10 hours 21 minutes, it remains the longest one-day final in snooker history. In the 1985 UK Championship final Davis trailed 8-13 against Willie Thorne, who missed a blue off the spot which would have given him a 14-8 lead. Davies won the frame and then 7 of the next 8 to win 16-14. At the 1986 World Championship, Davies defeated White 13-5 in the quarter-finals and Thorburn 16-12 in the semi-finals. Davis's opponent in the final was Joe Johnson, who had started the tournament as a 150-1 outsider. Davis lost the match 12-18. The result did not affect his position at the top of the world rankings, as he had won the UK Championship, the Grand Prix and the British Open in the 1985-1986 season. At the end of 1986 he beat Neil Foulds 16-7 to retain the UK Championship. Davies started 1987 by winning the Classic, beating defending champion Jimmy White 13-12. At the World Championship, he defeated Griffiths 13-5 in the quarter-final, and White 16-11 in the semi-final. In the final he again met Johnson, and established a 14-10 lead after 3 sessions. Johnson reduced Davis' lead to 14-13, but Davis won 4 of the next 5 frames to win the match 18-14 and regain the title. In beating Johnson he became the first player to win the UK Championship, Masters and World Championship in the same year. In December he retained his UK title with a 16-14 final win against White. In 1988 retained the Classic, claimed his second Masters title with a 9-0 final whitewash of Mike Hallett, won the World Cup with England and won his 4th Irish Masters title. In the World Championship Davis defeated Hallett 13-1, Tony Drago 13-4 and Thorburn 16-8 en route to the final, where he met Griffiths. Davies established a 5-2 lead after the first session, but Griffiths levelled at 8-8 after the second. On the second day of the match Davis took 10 out of 13 frames to win 18-11 and claim his 5th world title. Davies won the first ranking event of the 1988-1989 season with a 12-6 win over White in the International Open. In the same match, he became the first player to make 3 consecutive century breaks in a major tournament. In October, Davies won the Grand Prix, beating Alex Higgins 10-6 in the final to hold the World, UK, Masters, Grand Prix, Classic and Irish Masters titles simultaneously. However, his 4-year unbeaten run at the UK Championship came to an end in December with a 3-9 semi-final loss to Hendry. He did not win another major title that season until the 1989 World Championship, where he beat Hendry 16-9 in the semi-finals before going on to complete the heaviest victory in a world final of the modern era with an 18-3 win over John Parrott, his last World Championship to date. In October he retained the Grand Prix, beating Dean Reynolds 10-0 in the final, the first whitewash in a ranking event final. By the end of the 1980s, Davies was snooker's first millionaire. 1990-2005, in the 1990 World Championship, Davies was denied an 8th consecutive appearance in the final by Jimmy White, who won their semi-final 16-14. Davies was replaced as world number 1 by Stephen Hendry at the end of the 1989-90 season. He was ranked number 2 for the 1990-1991, 1991-1992, 1994-1995 and 1995-1996 seasons. He reached the semi-finals of the World Championships in 1991 and 1994. He also won the Irish Masters in 1990, 1991, 1993 and 1994, the Classic and the Asian Open in 1992, the European Open in 1993, and consecutive Welsh Open titles in 1994 and 1995. His successful defence of his Welsh Open title in 1995 is to date his last ranking title. Davis's last victory in a major tournament came at the 1997 Masters. Trailing his opponent Ronnie O'Sullivan 4-8 in the final, he won the next 6 frames to secure a 10-8 win. After a season which saw Davis reach only one ranking event quarter-final, Davies dropped out of the top 16 for the 2000-2001 season, and failed to qualify for the World Championship for the next 2 years. After failing to qualify for the World Snooker Championship for the first time in his professional career in 2001, Davis felt that retiring would be the easy thing to do, but as he still liked the challenge of snooker, he continued playing, and regained his place in the top 16 for the 2003-2004 season. He was runner-up in the 2004 Welsh Open to O'Sullivan, losing 8-9 after having led 8-5. In 2005 he reached a quarter-finals of the World Championship, losing to eventual winner Shaun Murphy. 2005 Euro 2010, at the 2005 UK Championship, held in York, Davis reached his 100th major career final, and made his first appearance in the UK final since 1990. En route he beat defending champion Stephen Maguire 9-8, a win which included a 145 break. And then Stephen Hendry 9-6 in the semi-finals to reach the final, where he lost 6-10 against Ding Junhui. Before the World Championships Davis brushed off suggestions of retirement, and he reached the second round, where he lost to Murphy. Davis's performances through the 2006-2007 season, including reaching the UK Championship quarter-finals and the Welsh Open semi-finals, ensured he was still a top 16 player at the age of 50. He dropped out of the top 16 a year later, but showed form in the 2008-2009 season by reaching the quarter-finals of both the Shanghai Masters and Grand Prix, the first time he had reached consecutive ranking event quarter-finals since 1996. At the World Championship Davis lost in the first round 2-10 against Neil Robertson. After the match he again dismissed talk of his retirement. In the first two tournaments of the 2009-2010 season Davis failed to qualify for the televised stages as he lost 4-5 against Matthew Salt in the Shanghai Masters and 0-5 against Mark Davis in the Grand Prix. In the next tournament, the UK Championship, he defeated Michael Judge 9-7 to set up a first-round match against Hendry, which he lost 6-9. Davies started 2010 by failing to qualify for the Welsh Open and the China Open, losing 2-5 against Dominic Dale and 3-5 against Mike Dunn respectively in the final qualifying round. In March he qualified for the World Championship for a record 30th time by defeating Adrian Gunnell 10-4. In the first round Davis defeated Mark King 10-9, becoming, at the age of 52, the oldest player to win a match at the Crucible since Eddie Charlton beat Cliff Thorburn in 1989. In the second round against defending champion John Higgins, a 1-20 favourite, Davis led 6-2 after the first session, 9-7 after the second session, and ultimately won 13-11, a win Clive Everton described as the greatest upset in the 33 years the Crucible has been hosting the championship. This made him the oldest world quarter-finalist since Charlton in 1983. In the quarter-final match against Australian Neil Robertson, Davies recovered from a 2-12 deficit to force the match into the third session, eventually losing 5-13. On April 29, 2010, to mark the 25th anniversary of their Blackball final of 1985, Davies appeared with Dennis Taylor before the beginning of the first semi-final, to stage a humorous reenactment of their historic final frame. Taylor entered the arena wearing a pair of comically oversized glasses, while Davis arrived sporting a red wig. Davies started the 2010-2011 season by qualifying to the televised stages of Shanghai Masters, whitewashing Rod Lawler 5-0, but lost in the first round 3-5 against Jamie Cope. He lost his qualifying matches in the next two tournaments. He lost 1-3 against Peter Ebdon in the last 64 of the World Open and 2-9 against Mark Joyce in the last 48 of the UK Championship. He also participated at the Players' Tour Championship, where his best results came at the Paul Hunter Classic, where he reached the quarter-finals, but lost 1-4 against Shaun Murphy. He finished 67 on the Order of Merit. Davis also reached the final of the World Seniors Championship, but lost in the final 1-4 against Jimmy White. He reached a third qualifying round of the German Masters, but was whitewashed by Ryan Day's 0-5. Davis lost his first qualifying matches of the next two tournaments. He was beaten by Joe Joja 3-4 in the Welsh Open and 4-5 by James Botana in the China Open. He narrowly reached the last qualifying round of the World Championship, by defeating Jack Kozowski 10-9, but lost against Stephen Lee 2-10. 2010-present. Davies started the 2011-2012 season at number 44, his lowest rank since turning professional. He lost his first qualifying match at the Shanghai Masters 1 €5 against Pasakon Suwonawat. After 2010 he reached the final of the World Seniors Championship, but again lost in the final, this time won €2 against Darren Morgan. Davis also participated at the Players Tour Championship, where his best results came at the Warsaw Classic, where he reached the semi-finals, but lost 3-4 against Ricky Walden. He finished number 26 on the order of merit. He qualified for the UK Championship, by defeating both Ian McCulloch and Andrew Higginson 6-2, but he couldn't qualify to the German Masters as he lost 1-5 against Robert Milkins and also lost in the first round of the UK Championship 1-6 against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Davis then missed the World Open, as he lost his first qualifying match 1-5 against Ian McCulloch, but reached the last 16 of the Welsh Open with 3-4-3 victories, defeating Lucky Vatnani, Ricky Walden and Alistair Carter, before losing 0-4 against Shaun Murphy. However, he then didn't qualify for either the China Open, nor the World Snooker Championship, losing 1-5 to Rory McLeod and 7-10 to Benoit Laston respectively. Davies started the 2012-2013 season at number 51, but couldn't qualify for the first two ranking events, as he lost 3-5 against Kurt Marflin at the Wooey Classic, and 0-5 against Michael Wild at the Australian Goldfields Open. Davis took part in the Six Red World Championship, where he finished third in Group E with 3 wins out of 5 matches and advanced to the knockout stage, but lost 1-6 against Mark Davis in the last 32. Davis qualified for the Shanghai Masters by defeating Alfie Burton 5-1 and Andrew Higginson 5-0. There he defeated Suwaini 5-1 to reach the last 32, but lost 4-5 against Ricky Walden. He however couldn't qualify for the International Championship after losing his first qualifying match 5-6 against Pankaj Advani. Davies then qualified for the final stages of the UK Championship by defeating Advani 6-5 and Jamie Burnett 6-2, but lost 2-6 against Ali Carter, and he also lost his first qualifying match at German Masters 4-5 against Simon Bedford. Davis also participated at the Players Tour Championship, where his best results came at the K. Suzanne Memorial Trophy and the Scottish Open, where he reached the last 16, but lost 3-4 against John Higgins and 1-4 against Ding Junhui respectively. He finished number 52 on the order of merit. Davis then lost at the qualifying stages of the next two ranking events. He lost 4-5 against Chen Xie at the World Open, and 0-5 against Mark King at the China Open. At the Welsh Open he defeated Kurt Marflin 4-2 to qualify for the venue stage of the event, where he lost 0-4 against Mark Selby. Davis finished the season in the qualifying stage of the World Championship by losing 7-10 against Marflin. Davies started the 2013-2014 season at number 51, and his first match was in the qualifying stages for the Wooey Classic, where he faced James Cahill. After Cahill levelled the match at 2-2, Davies won the next 3 frames in a row, along with a 131 break in the penultimate frame, to book his place for the main stage of the tournament in Wooey, where he lost 1-5 against Andrew Higginson in the last 64. Davis then lost at the qualifying stages of the next 2 ranking events he entered. He lost 2-5 against Higginson at the Shanghai Masters, and 1-4 against Thainawat Thayarapongpaiboon at the Indian Open. He then qualified for the International Championship with a 6-2 win against Alan Taylor, but lost at the venue 1-6 against Sork Sintong in the wild card round. Davies won his first World Seniors Championship title by defeating Nigel Bond 2-1 in the final. After a defeat by Craig Steadman 8-10 in the second round of the 2014 World Snooker Championship qualification, Davis finished the season outside the top 64 in the money list and dropped off the professional main tour after 36 years. Given an invitational tour card to participate in tournaments for the 2014-15 season, Davis made his return to competitive snooker in the Riga Open in August 2014, losing 1-4 to Robert Milkins in the last 64. He then participated in the Paul Hunter Classic, losing 2-4 to Gary Wilson in the last 128. Davis played in the 2014 Champion of Champions event after qualifying through winning the 2013 World Seniors Championship, losing 1-4 to Mark Selby in the group semi-final. Legacy. In the book Masters of the Bays, a detailed comparison and ranking of snooker professionals, authors Luke Williams and Paul Gadsby rated Davis as the third greatest snooker player of all time behind Joe Davis and Stephen Hendry. As of 2011, Davis has won a record 80 professional titles from 115 finals, 28 of them in ranking events. His record of 6 world titles in the modern era has been bettered only by Hendry, and no player has yet matched his tally of 6 UK titles. Davis has also compiled over 300 competitive centuries during his career. In 2011 he was inducted to World Snooker's newly created Hall of Fame along with 7 former world champions. Other sports. From 1994 to 2007 Davis played in professional 9-ball pool events regularly. He was instrumental in the creation of the Mosconi Cup, and has represented Europe in the tournament on 11 occasions, and was a member of the team's 1995 and 2002 wins. His victory against the US's Earl Strickland clinched the 2002 competition for Europe. In 2001 Davis nearly won his first singles title in pool at the World Pool League, however, Efren Reyes defeated him 9-5 the final. Sid Waddell gave him the nickname Romford Slim, and said he was Britain's answer to the famous American pool player Rudolph Minnesota Fats Wanderone. Davis dislikes 8-ball pool as played on English-style tables in British pubs and clubs, considering it a Mickey Mouse game, because of its undersized cue ball in relation to the other balls, but made it clear that he is only critical of the game when it is played with an undersized cue ball. He is also a keen chess player and was for a while the president of the British Chess Federation. Davis has also become a proficient poker player, with successful appearances at televised tournaments. One of these included an appearance at the final table of the 2003 Poker Million together with fellow snooker player Jimmy White, who eventually won. Later, at event 41 of the 2006 World Series of Poker, Davis finished 579th, winning $20,617. At event 54 of the 2008 World Series of Poker he finished 389th, winning $28,950. At event 56 of the 2010 World Series of Poker he finished 131st, winning $5,491. At event 22 of the 2011 Grand Poker Series he finished 8th, winning $2,049. In other media, Davis has become known for his coolness and impeccable conduct in high-pressure situations. His initial lack of emotional expression and somewhat monotonous interviewing style earned him a reputation as boring. As a result, the satirical television series Spitting Image gave him the ironic nickname Interesting. Davies himself now plays upon this image and says it helped him gain acceptance from the public. It led to him co-authoring a comedic book, How to Be Really Interesting, with Jeff Atkinson, the front cover of which shows Davis mocking his perceived dullness, dressed in boxing regalia holding a cue. Davies appeared as a commentator for the BBC's snooker coverage and as a guest on television quizzes such as They Think It's All Over and A Question of Sport. He appeared in a baked beans advertisement in the 1980s. In 2007, his image was used as the epitome of reliability in a series of advertisements for Irish Life. He featured in a spoof online viral promoting the Nintendo DS game World Snooker Championship Season 2007 a Euro 08, in which he parodied a Nicole Kidman brain training advert. In 2010, Davis made a cameo appearance in the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret as himself. His other TV appearances include a guest slot on the Christmas 1981 edition of The Morecambe and Wise Show. He has published numerous other books, 5 relating to snooker, Successful Snooker, Frame and Fortune, Steve Davis, Snooker Champion, Matchroom Snooker and The Official Matchroom 1990. 2 relating to chess in 1995 with David Norwood, Steve Davis Plays Chess and Grandmaster Meets Chess Amateur. He also authored 3 cookbooks in 1994, Simply Fix a Euro the Steve Davis Interesting Cookbook No 1 a Euro Interesting Things to Do with Meat, Simply Fix a Euro the Steve Davis Interesting Cookbook No 2 a Euro Interesting Things to Make with Poultry, and Simply Fix a Euro the Steve Davis Interesting Cookbook No 3 a Euro Interesting Things to Make Using Vegetables. In 1986 he joined musical duo Chas and Dave and several other snooker stars of the time on the novelty record Snooker Loopy, which was a top 10 hit in the United Kingdom. A year later they released a follow-up single, The Rumford Rap, though this only reached number 91 in the UK charts. Since 1996 he has presented a show dedicated to progressive rock and the Canterbury scene on his local radio station, Phoenix FM. In 2013, Davies participated in the 13th series of I'm a Celebrity. Get Me Out of Here. He finished in 8th place. Personal life: in 1988, Davies was named the BBC Sports Personality of the Year and was made an MBE. He was awarded an OBE in 2001, and is currently honorary president of the Snooker Writers Association. Davis is a big fan of the French progressive rock band Magma, and even organised a concert in London so he could watch them. Davis is on the board of Leyton Orient Football Club, which he has revealed to be more of a gimmick. Davis has been a Charlton Athletic fan most of his life, and Barry Hearn is the Orient chairman. Davis lives in Brentwood, Essex, and divorced from his wife Judith in 2005 after 15 years of marriage. Together, they have 2 sons called Greg and Jack. In 2012, Greg Davis entered the Q School, with the aim of winning a place on the professional snooker tour. He was a supporter of the Conservative Party. Performance and rankings timeline. Career finals, ranking finals, 41, non-ranking finals, 76, variant event finals, 1, team finals, 11, pro-am finals, 2, notes. References. External links, official player profile of Steve Davis WorldSnooker.com. World Professional Billiards and Snooker Association. Players alphabetical section. Retrieved March 18, 2011. Steve Davis on Twitter, Steve Davis at qtracker.net, Snooker Results and Statistic Database.